Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our RAMP session, Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement session. Today is Thursday the 19th. I'm sorry, Wednesday the 19th. My name is Carlos Cordova, working with Sherpa Marketing Solutions and collaborating with the City of LA and their leadership in getting the word out regarding RAMP to the small business community across Southern California, and really prompting and giving opportunities, publicizing the opportunities with the city as well as our other entities that we have here in the city. So we look forward to a great informative session with all of you. And we will have a special guest as well that will meet during the course of the session. We are recording this session and it will be shared with you along with the presentation and the chat notes following our meeting. Any thoughts, any questions you may have, please put it in the chat. We do monitor the chat on an ongoing basis. A lot of great information is shared on the chat. So definitely, if you have any thoughts, any questions, please put them on there. We do distribute a copy of the chat just because a lot of valuable information is being shared with everybody in the room. So definitely utilize that. One more thing that I want to include is we do have a short video that we'll share in a moment, as well as a couple of poll questions that we'll be sharing with you and we want to ask of you. The first question that I'd like to share with you is, have you previously attended any of our City of LA RAMP webinars? We're always interested in knowing how many different folks we have coming in. We host these sessions on a monthly basis and always coming back to share information. So it gives us good insights into the content, and it gives us good insights into any new information that we need to share or the elements that we have as far as the content. So please take a minute and vote with us about your presence in these sessions. We give everybody a few more seconds to participate. Next, before we go with Shannon Hoppe's presentation, I'd like to screen with you a short video that we have from a small business owner, a vendor that has had a great success working with City of Los Angeles. So let me go ahead and screen this video for you now, and then we'll go into the presentation. I will give you right now the poll results. About a third of all of you have been to our sessions before, 2/3 new to the sessions. So those of you that are new, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So without much ado, let me share this video with you.
Hi, my name is Kevin Ramsey, and I'm president of Alameda Construction Services. We've been in business since 1997. We are a site concrete contractor. We do curb and gutter, sidewalks, driveways, that type of work. We also do minor structural concrete. We use RAMP to find out about opportunities, and also when we're looking for work, we go to RAMP and search the site and see what opportunities are out there. And every agency in the city has their own contracts, but you can find out all about that when you register with RAMP, and then because that's where you go to look for the project. So all the city agencies put all of their bid opportunities in RAMP. The advice that I would recommend is keep the faith. You could do this. Find your opportunities. Find something that'll fit for your company. Find something that'll fit for your scope of work. The most important thing is to register in RAMP, because once you register in RAMP, then you find the opportunity. Sometimes the opportunity find you. You know, people are looking for you. So look in RAMP at least 2 or 3 times a week. Find the opportunity that you like. Put your proposal in, learn from your proposal, and do it again. Do it again, do it again, and then one of these times you're gonna get the opportunity to do it, and then once you do it, you do a good job so they can call you back. That's how we do our business. You know, we like to do repeat business with customers that like to do business with us. That's how you stay in business. That's how you get business with Ramp. It's a great opportunity. Don't miss out. Make sure you register, go there and look and send your proposals in.
I hope you found that very insightful and inspirational. Alameda has been a great partner with the city of LA for many years, and they've really been able to grow their business. So great inspirational story. So now I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Shannon Hoppus. Shannon is a Chief Procurement Officer with the City of Los Angeles. Shannon has been a huge proponent and really the driving force behind the RAMP procurement platform. So Shannon is going to share some insights into how RAMP has evolved and really the vision that the City of Los Angeles has for this platform. So Shannon, please take it away.
Thanks, Carlos. It's so great to see so many new faces on this webinar today. And for those of you returning, it's nice to have you back. We're hoping to share some information with you so you may have access to not only opportunities with the City of LA, but with many of our regional partners that we have in this space. So I'm going to get into what is RAMP and why you should be here. Next slide. So what is RAMP? It is our Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement. It is an initiative that it was hosted by the City of Los Angeles. And what it does is we designed it to house multiple solicitations or advertisements about the things that we want to buy from all of you in one place. So the city alone houses $4.5 billion of procurement opportunity. And what we did is we modeled a platform that was done in London during the London Olympics. And it was designed to expand procurement opportunities for local small businesses with the idea of centralizing multiple opportunities into one platform. And so that is what the City of LA did. We launched this last February, and we have been marketing it to our small businesses for the last actually couple of years, because RAMP is really dependent on all of your participation. Next slide. Over the next several years, we don't have to tell you, but we're about to experience some great things. We have the 2026 World Cup, the 2028 Olympics, not to mention we are LA. There is always a lot of investment in our region in terms of infrastructure, construction, and all sorts of opportunities that are here in the Southern California area. We expected when we launched RAMP to house or generate over $10 billion of procurement opportunities. And we really feel that we are either close or actually have met that number. We haven't done the math lately, but we are pretty close to that number. And what that tells us is there's a lot of opportunity for you to access, but you have to show up and you have to register. So we're going to talk about that. Next slide. These are just a few of our regional partners that you will find on RAMP or that are accessing our database to find you. So you see there's quite an array here. We have sports and entertainment, we have engineering and construction firms, we have other government municipalities, we have our healthcare systems, we have Cedars-Sinai and City of Hope. You'll be hearing from some of them and their opportunities, but you can see that there is a wealth of opportunity that is being generated by all of these partners that, again, are looking to do business with you. So what makes RAMP unique for the small business community is it's a central location where small businesses can register for opportunities, both with public and private agencies. It makes it time efficient for business owners so they can go to one place and experience multiple opportunities. It's a one-stop hub where you can get certified, you can see or meet with other prime contractors. You can get a sense of what types of things we are looking for, either as the City of Los Angeles or maybe what our partners are looking for. And this is a way for you to connect with one another so you can do business together. So you can maybe offer to be a subcontractor on a prime contractor's procurement opportunity that they are working on with us. This is also where you would build a business profile. Many of you might be familiar with our previous platform, LA Bavin. What's different about Ramp is that you're able to build a profile. You're able to build an advertisement of sorts about who you are, what your business does. You're able to list your certifications. You're able to list your addresses, as well as those who work for you. Whatever it is that makes you unique in your field, you are able to talk about in your business profile. So it's really important to keep your profile updated. It's sort of like LinkedIn. It's a way for our regional partners to connect with you and find you. Next slide. I'll hand it back to you, Carlos.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you for that introduction. One of the things that we're really proud to have in our sessions, and today we have City of Hope participating with us, is to bring in private entities and public as well that are collaborating with the City of Los Angeles and Ramp in scoping out opportunities to find contractors, small businesses, diverse businesses of all types. I'd like to introduce Flora Mayer from City of Hope, based here in Southern California. Let me tell you a little bit about her background. Flora joined City of Hope as a manager of supplier diversity in 2022, leading City of Hope's supplier diversity program, including strategy development and execution, as well as external and internal relations. Flora has extensive experience in sourcing, community involvement and development, and implementing supplier diversity programs in previous roles held at Teradata Corporation and Sprint Corporation. Flora's passion includes building and nurturing relationships with small and diverse businesses, supporting capacity building and mentorship, and advocating for small and diverse suppliers with the goal to secure and increase business opportunities. Flora earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Illinois at Chicago, and obviously she likes Southern California weather a little bit more. So Flora, thank you so much for joining us today. And go ahead, take it away.
Thank you, Carlos. That was a very nice introduction. Appreciate that. And definitely, I do like the Southern California weather much better than the Chicago weather. So glad to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Flora Mayer, and I'm so thrilled to be here to share information about who City of Hope is, a little bit about our supplier diversity program, and give you a little bit of information how to reach us, how to contact us, and what we might be looking for. Next slide, please. So who is City of Hope? For those who are not familiar, we are a hospital where we treat and we research for cancer and diabetes and other life-threatening diseases. We are very compassion driven. So everything that we do really is at the heart of whether in our business offices or patient care. Patients, caregivers are always at the heart of everything we do. Compassion is very important, and that feeds through everything that we do. We operate in not only in Los Angeles, but in Orange County, in Phoenix, Atlanta, and Chicago, with the last Chicago and Atlanta being new since we acquired Cancer Treatment Centers of America about a year ago. And then I love this quote, which is really our culture and what we work and live by, is that there is no profit in curing the body if in the process we destroy the soul. And that really speaks to and resonates to what City of Hope is all about. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our supplier diversity program. It is fairly new, started in 2022, early 2022. And we have since put together a supplier diversity program, which is myself. I manage the program. And we've started to put some policies and procedures in place in ensuring that we provide opportunities to small and diverse suppliers to participate in the procurement of our products and services. And we have partnered with LA Ramp so that we can collaborate and ensure that LA, Southern California, small diverse suppliers have the opportunity and a means to participate with our City of Hope procurement and our part of our inclusion. And we do have, I said, a dedicated supplier diversity department, and that is myself. I am here to, my role is to advocate for small diverse suppliers, to help navigate through such a complex system. Sometimes I don't even know who the stakeholders are. That I have to kind of make my way and find out through several emails. So, but I'm here as an advocate to help you do that. And then supplier diversity, we are aligned with the procurement team, with the purchasing department. So I sit with the sourcing, purchasing individuals, and we share and we collaborate as to what opportunities are coming up, what RFPs are coming up, so that I can make sure that diverse suppliers have an opportunity to participate in those. Next slide, please. So what can you do to help you? And I loved what Mr. Ramsey had said with Alameda Construction is you have to be known, you have to be visible. And one way to do that is register with LA Ramp. That is your first and foremost. But we also require that you get certified. Certification is important to City of Hope because it allows us to be able to track the spend and be able to report it. And then also really to validate that you are indeed a small business, minority owned, veteran owned, whatever the case may be. Some of the ways that you can get certified, I just put some options here. If you're not familiar, the CPUC, the California Public Utilities Commission, they certify diverse vendors for free. So it doesn't cost you anything to do it. And they're fairly efficient and quick about it. I believe it's somewhere between 60-day turnaround. And you're in a database, and then it's accessible to many companies. Certainly the utility companies would have access to you, but not only them, pretty public, broad range of visibility. And others are the DGS, Department of General Services. Some others would be the NMSDC or WeBank. And then the NGLCC is another avenue. But I would say that's a CPUC, given that it's free and it is California based, I would definitely recommend doing that. You can email us your capability statement. I've put in the email address here, supplierdiversity@coh.org. I manage that mailbox, so you're basically emailing me directly. Send us your capability statement as another way to introduce your company. Let us know who you are. And then be open to tier 2 opportunities as a subcontractor, if there are no direct opportunities to do business with you, but be open to be a subcontractor, as Shannon had mentioned earlier on. And then lastly is be patient. Building relationships does take some time. You don't just meet someone and right away, you're awarded a contract. Develop those relationships, follow through, give us your capability statements. And like Mr. Ramsey said, don't give up, just keep the faith. But I would like to say your 2 main jobs are going to be register with LA Ramp, so we see you, we know where you're at, how to find you, and get certified. Next slide. That kind of wraps it up for me. Thank you very much for your time. I'm glad to be here and to share this information. I've posted my how to contact me. You can contact me either at fmayer@coh.org or the general email box supplierdiversity@coh.org. Either way, those emails come to me. And I've listed my phone number also. Email works best though. Thank you for your time, and I'll hand it over to Jack now. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you so much for sharing this information and the opportunities with City of Hope. Again, RAMP is really unique across the country because of the unique capability to feature public agencies as well as private organizations. So it's great to see that City of Hope is on board and utilizing the businesses that register on RAMP as a resource for contract opportunities. So thanks for joining us once again, and thank you for sharing your contact information. That's great.
Thank you.
Before I turn it over to Jack, I'd like to feature a quick poll, really focused into now whether we have a lot of you in our audience that have been that are currently registered with RAMP. As you know, we do these on a monthly basis. Jack Ochoa, who comes next in our presentation, goes through the process of how the RAMP portal works and registration, and giving you the shortcuts to having a successful and quite visible presence on the platform. And then it helps us to set up our Jack's presentation to know how many of you out there are registered on RAMP. So we'll give you all a couple more minutes while we get Jack ready to go with his presentation. And we see that right now, which is always interesting, we have folks that are registered, folks that are not registered, and also some that don't know, which is really interesting. So Jack will touch on all of those present. So we're about a third of our attendees that are registered and about 60% that are not. So Jack, with those insights from our audience, please go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Carlos. So I'm going to go through like kind of a step-by-step. I am going to go a little bit fast because I'm looking at the time, but it is recorded. So I want to encourage you just to kind of watch along, right? And then you can always, when you get the video, you're always welcome to play in the background and just walk through the same process, okay? So I encourage you to kind of just watch what we're doing here and just kind of understand the process, right? So it all starts with rampla.org. That's like your first step. The very first thing you're going to see is going to be a screen that's going to look a lot like this. So you'll notice right at the top, there's a big old button that says login register right here. So you want to start right there. You're going to click that button, and then you're going to get this spot right here. So you're going to enter in your email address that you're going to have access to immediately, because they're going to send you a verification button. So then you're going to enter in your email if you're already registered in the previous system called LA Bobbin. If you're not registered, for those of the rest of you that are not registered, you're going to go to this bottom button where it says sign up. So you're like, okay, so I got to decide, am I in the old system or am I new to this? So if you're new to this, you're going to go to that button that says sign up. You're going to click on that button, and now you're going to enter in your details, email address, right? Remember, you want to make sure somebody have access to immediately. Password, it must have about 12 characters, not 16 like the state. 12 is good enough. Make sure you use uppercase, lowercase number, special character, first name, last name. And then for phone number, I do encourage you to use your cell number. Don't forget to check that box. This is, you're not a robot. And then you hit register. Once you do that, you're going to get immediately an email. Now it's going to come from Angelino. So you're like, well, wait a minute, shouldn't it become a RAMP? Yes, the system is called Angelino. So you're going to make sure you go to your email, and it's going to look a lot like this one right here. It'll say, welcome to Angelino. So then you have to activate your account to confirm that you are in fact not a robot, okay? Once you do that, you got to be patient. You got to just stand still, wait for a minute. It'll reload and it'll look a lot like this. So on there, you're going to make sure you put at the top your company name. And I'm going to take a small pause here for a moment on company name. If you are a sole proprietor, your sole proprietor is you. So you put your name. If you are a corporation, then you put your corporate name, LLC, corporate, S Corp, whatever. You make sure you put it there. And then you also want to put in your location. It'll say within the US, outside the US. And then again, if you have an EIN number as a corporation, you're going to go ahead and you're going to put in that number right there. Once you do that, it'll throw you a screen. It looks a lot like this. It'll obviously have your name. It'll also, most of the information already filled out. and then you'll need to put in your title. Typically, that'll be owner. If you are a single member LLC, your title is managing member / CEO. So just know that that's your title technically for all legal documents. And then of course, corporations, make sure you fill out the appropriate field for that. Then this is where you get to show off a little bit. And this is what Shannon was talking about making a LinkedIn-like profile, okay? So on here, so you're gonna now fill out most of the fields here. So again, it's gonna automatically put your name. If you have a DBA or doing business as, that goes in line 2. And then you'll notice it'll say summary. Highly encourage you to put something in this box. What do you do? Basically, what do you do in as short as possible words? In other words, don't write the next novel. Just write something short. Be concise. What does your business do? What services do you provide? You want to put it right here in the summary. It's about 250 characters. I usually say 1 sentence is good enough, just so that you get encouraged. And you'll see that there's another section where you get to brag even more. You'll notice on the other side, you're going to put in your address. Those are obvious. Quick note, you want a physical address and not a PO box. So that's a physical address that goes in that box right there. As you go down, you'll notice a couple little glitches that kind of workarounds. You'll notice on the phone number, it does require dashes. I know in some places it doesn't require it. For this one, it does require it. You do need to put dashes. And then you can continue on where you can actually put in your hours of operation. So you can put in your open Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday, what type of hours, you can put that on there as well. You also can put on what type of company you are. On the other side, you'll notice it'll say you can put in your California entity number. And if you have your City of Los Angeles license number, you can put it right there too, okay? So as you scroll down, and I want to highlight this one specific spot, you'll notice it'll say nonprofit. Don't forget to select that you're not a nonprofit or that you are, depending on your situation. But this next button is so important, so critical. This is register as. So you want to make sure you select the one that says prime or sub. It looks a lot like this button right here, the big red thing right here. So if you select prime, they'll say, okay, they're only going to reach out to you. In other words, that you're going to be the main person in charge of the contract. But then you already heard from Laura from the City of Hope that they're encouraging you to be a sub. And so I think that's where you start. Remember, Rome was not built in one day. So you want to start with sub, get some experience under your belt, and then move on, okay? So I encourage you to select prime and sub. You go ahead and select next. Now, your NICS code, your North American Industry Standard number. So there's really a couple of places you can find it. The one place you can find your NICS, if you don't know your number, I do encourage you to go to the US Census.gov/NICS to look up your NICS code. Your NICS code determines what your trade is. So if you're a plumber, then that's what you're an electrician. If you're a trainer, if you're a caterer, if all the industry, manufacturers, retail, they're all in here. So make sure that you list out what your number is. You're allowed up to 10. And I do encourage you to do it, to really know your number before you get into this. If you don't happen to know your number, you can always come back and update this later. But I would encourage you to at least pick one to get you started, just so you can do that. But at the end of the day, I would recommend get your NICS code numbers prior to getting this thing done. So then you scroll to the bottom here. And then once you go to next, it'll automatically throw your screen, looks like this. Demographics, right? So it's going to ask about your ethnicity. So make sure you put in that. You also have other demographics, number of employees, usually under 20 is one of your first options. Your annual revenue, you're going to put in your annual revenue. Now, this is the bragging part that I was mentioning about earlier. So right here, it shows that your work history. This is where you get to brag about what experience you have. So I would encourage you to put as much information about what your business has done. Now, one area that always comes up is like, well, I used to work for Disney and now I'm on my own. Okay, well, what exactly did you do for them? This is where you get to list out. These are the projects that I handle. These are the projects that I managed. And I think that's where you get an opportunity to brag. And only because I point this out, there was a young lady I was working with a couple of months ago, and she was the designer for the Lucas Museum in downtown LA. And you're going, she never talked about it because she was working for some other company, but she was the designer. I'm like, you need to talk about that. Like, you need to put that on here, because then that's where you get an opportunity to showcase what the type of work you've done. So now I know Flora mentioned it, and there's actually going to be a class specifically on certification next week, and Carlos is going to talk about that here in a minute. But certification, if you already have any one of the certifications that on here, either DGS, CPUC, Metro, or any of the other ones that Flora mentioned, whether the National Minority Council or with WeBank or within NGLCC, yes, you can use them and you can put them in here. Only if you have them. If you do not have your certification and you're unclear whether or not you have it, you can actually scroll to the bottom and hit next. So it's not a required field, but if you have it, you want to definitely brag about it. There is one that I'm going to cover in next week's session, which is the local business enterprise, which is a city of Los Angeles centric. And actually, it's any business located within the county of LA. So that's a certification that A, is free. And all you need to be is you need to be in the city of LA. I mean, excuse me, you mean in the county of Los Angeles. So you're like, I can be in Pomona. Yes, you qualify. You can be in Whittier. Yes, you qualify. You can be in Long Beach. Yes, you qualify. So there is a program for the city that actually encourages business within the region. So just know that as a side note, that there's opportunities out there for everybody. So what happens next? So now you're done, right? So now you're at this point where you're like, cool, I'm now in the system. You make sure you verify everything's correct. You always have an opportunity to correct. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, hit the big gigantic button that says submit. And then once you submit, you're golden and you should be ready to go, and it should look a lot like this. So now I'm actually going to share my additional screen. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I know I went kind of fast, but I want to make sure that I give you the information that you need. So I'm going to share actually the website so you actually see what it looks like live. So now that you're in the system, it should look like this. Carlos, can you guys see my screen? It says ramp. Okay, cool. So yes. now you're in the back end, right? So now you'll notice that your name will pop up right here in this corner, right? This is actually me inside of ramp. Okay. So now you're right here. This is like kind of the system. You know you're inside, and then there's a couple of buttons that you need to be a note of, right? So up here, this is where you're going to find opportunities, right? You want to search, and then over here you're going to notice your other business profile. So if you want to see what your competitors are doing, you can actually look at that button and actually see, hey, what NICS codes do my competitors have? Maybe I need to get the same ones they have, right? Why not? So, or you want to look at your own profile. Hey, what does it look like? So you can actually look at your profile. And if you remember what I said, is if you don't have your NICS codes or you want to add some, it should look like this. And this is right here is where your NICS codes can be added, right? Your big old button says NAICS code and licenses. And here you can go ahead and click on it. It'll throw you to a screen that looks like this. And then you can add additional NICS codes. If you don't have your certifications today, but then you want to get them in the future, you can always come back here under certifications, and then you can add certifications with this big gigantic button that's right here. So once you get your certification, you can always come back and you can add them here, okay? So you have a lot of buttons here that actually are really cool. You can manage the users, company details. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do in here under your business profile. But I'm going to go to the business search because I think this is important for all of us, right? So now you're looking at and going, hey, wait a minute, City of Hope or other organizations mentioned there's opportunities on here. So look at this as a research tool, not just to find opportunities right now, because you can go on here and say, okay, let me see what opportunities are out here. And you'll notice some different buttons. There's a category, so you can do commodities only, you can do construction or professional services. Commodity, those are widgets. Construction is obvious, that's what it is. Professional service is more like training. So look at it from that perspective. This is actually the individual, think of more like consulting work. That's where that one is, right? So you have that. Then you also have status. And this is what I mean by research right here. Under status, you can look at open, So let me show me all the open opportunities. You can click on that button and it's going to show you all of them. Okay. Now you can see there are BWPs on here, the Housing Authority, General Services. So you have a lot of agencies. But I want to show you these other two buttons right here under awarded or closed. Now let's talk about this for just a minute from a research perspective. If you went back and looked at awarded or closed contracts, you now have historical data, which is public record, on what was the last price paid. And I want you to think about that. Think of the power behind that, because now you have information that's going to help you to basically get your leg up and understand really how the process works, right? So then I really encourage you to really look at these two buttons, either awarded or closed. Open is always a good one too, right? You want to see what's open right now. You can do that. You also want to also highlight for you this button's right here under types. So now here's where it gets a little weird, okay? So when you're looking at opportunities, there's a couple. And on the screen, you already see it. You see number one right there, it says RFI. So that's request for information. So this is more like conceptual. They're like saying, hey, who's out there that actually can do this for us? The second one right below there, it says RFQ. So that's a request for a qualification. So you're like, hey, well, maybe are there qualified companies that can handle this scope of work? So that's what I encourage you when you're looking at this field here under type, you want to understand what each of these do. So an RFP proposal is, hey, let's talk about you giving me some ideas of what pricing we can do. Qualifications is usually a group of companies that say, hey, we're qualified to do this type of work. Interest is more like the city testing to see if there's anybody out there that can actually develop the next flying car. So that's what that one is for, right? That's kind of futuristic, more way out there, right? And then of course, you'll notice the last one, which is request for a bid. So request for a bid is really more lowest price. So notice that one is lowest price. This one is about who's out there. This one is who's out there that's qualified. And then this one is negotiable. So it's kind of like, give me an idea of what your pricing is. You also notice the two bottom ones, which are sole source, doesn't come up that often. This is like if the city's looking for a specific company or a specific like technology, that's where sole source might come up. But then you also notice there's one at the bottom that'll say task order. So task orders and quotes are very similar to each other. So a quote would be like, hey, I need to buy 5 of something, right? Not a large order, something smaller, but those opportunities are out there as well. And a task order was like, hey, you know what? We just painted this whole building, but we're going to put out a task order to have this one wall updated, right? So that can happen. It doesn't happen a lot, but they are out there. So I encourage you to really kind of sort through this list here. So then you can also look at some of the dates, because you can sort by NICS code. Once you know what your particular industry, your NICS code is, you can sort it out by NICS code. So I encourage you to even look at it from that perspective. So this is a very powerful tool. This did not exist in Alibaba, and just so we're clear, did not exist. This is a very, very powerful tool. I will tell you that I spend a lot of time on here, maybe too much time, because it's more like, I want to make sure that we understand how this thing works and how do you leverage it for your business? How do you make sure that your business is out there and participating in opportunities? So, Carlos, were there any questions out there?
Yes, Jack, there is. Thanks so much. We do have a pretty active chat session going on right now. One thing that I would like for you to go back and just clarify a little bit is a couple things regarding NAICS codes. We know that we posted in the chat that folks can go to census.gov/NAICS, but could you just talk a little bit about NAICS codes and really the importance of businesses to accurately identify and input their NAICS code in the RAM platform? Specifically, when somebody asked about catering services, whether the city or other entities contract catering, and I would hazard a guess that they probably do. But if you
Yes.
could go over NAICS codes, it'd be
Yeah,
great.
let's go over NICS codes. So, and you know what, let me go to the US Census one real fast. So it's census. So I want to go to the census, and I want to go NICS. All right, here. I'm just gonna go to here. I'm gonna go here. Oops. Sorry about that. I wasn't quite ready for this, but I want to just kind of make sure we understand. Can you guys see the NICS screen? Yes?
Yes,
Yes? All right, cool. So now you're in here going, okay, what's my number? I'm not sure, right? So I'm not sure, and I'm in catering, right? So you can literally go on here and go, okay, let me go on here and let me just put in catering. And then hit go. And so what it'll do is it'll say, hey, if you're in catering, it's this number right here. It's clearly, here's your number right here. So I'm going to show you a weird one that I looked up the other day. So I'm going to type in balloons. Oops. Boom. The balloons is on here. You're like, what? Yeah, because I had a company that they literally make those arches of balloons. They're like, hey, is there an opportunity for me? Maybe, I don't know. You look up your number and sure enough, there's a number for them. So every industry has a number. And in some industries, there's even more than one number. So I'm going to type in education, because this one comes up a lot and has a ton of numbers. And you'll notice there's a lot of numbers, right? You're like, well, what number is mine? You're going to have to dig into each number. You're literally going to have to go to each number and understand, okay, what exactly is it that I do? And then which of these numbers accurately describes me? You may go, well, wait a minute, 2 or 3 of these accurately describe. And you're like, okay, that's allowed. Remember, I was told you, you can do up to 10. So you're okay with doing more than one. So don't be discouraged. And worst case scenario, you don't know what your number is, right? Let's just go with that. You don't know what your number is. So you go to your taxes, and under your Schedule C, it's on like page 6 on your taxes. If you're a sole proprietor or in a single member LLC, it's on page 6, more or less. It'll say profit and loss statement, Schedule C, and under box B, it'll have your NICS number. Worst case scenario, ask your accountant, ask your CPA, hey, I need to know what my NICS code number is, and that's how you do that. I hope that answered that question.
yes, Jack, so much. One more time, really the importance too, and maybe Jack, you can elaborate on this. When a company registers on RAMP, the system will automatically send out opportunities. And the only way that it'll know to send you the right opportunities is based on inputting NAICS codes. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so the key driver to all of this, and I'm going to actually pick on this profile here, and you'll notice under NICS codes. And so I encourage you to look at what codes are out there. And I'm going to give you one that I was thrown off not too long ago. So we had to add additional codes to the profile in order to get other invitations. So what I would tell you is, in different categories, have some people look at it this way. Some people call it tomato and some people call it tomato, right? So what you want to do is you want to position your company in a way where you're getting invited. You want to get invited to as many events that are possible, right? So what I would encourage you to do is to put in as many NICS codes as you can possibly do to your profile. So add. And I would, check your company, go on here and look up other catering companies that do what you do, like look those up. So you know what, I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to go to business profiles and I'm going to type in the word catering under company. And I'm going to type in restaurant. Sorry, my dyslexia kicks in every so often. So now I can go on here and go, okay, let me see who else is already on here. And then you can actually look up what NICS code did this guy, what does this guy have? So you can go on here and you can actually look up your competitors and figure what NICS codes these guys have. And look at this one. They have a bunch of them right here. They have 3 of them right here. So again, I'm encouraging you to pick as many as you possibly can. If you're missing one, go and look around, start figuring out what is my competitor doing in this space. And that way too, it gives you an opportunity to get in there and see why. That's when you start getting invites, right? You start getting invitations to different events based on your NICS code. So I highly, highly, highly encourage you to make sure you add in the maximum number on here. What you don't want to do is spaghetti against the wall, right? Don't pick a code that your business doesn't do, because then that's where it gets a little frustrating. And then you also want to make sure that you're picking enough codes that are related to your specific trade or your specific industry. I hope that makes sense. Go.
Thanks, Jack. I think everybody's figuring out NAICS codes and whether to find them in the census and how to do the research. One last point I think to touch on in the few minutes that we have. We do want to clarify, and maybe you can build on this a little bit. Registration on RAMP is free, and a company does not need to have certification for registration. It's something that can enhance their profile, but it's not required to initiate the registration process. Could you go into that?
Yeah, correct. So remember, this system is free. So again, it's your tax dollar at work, right? So look at it from the perspective of, this is an opportunity for you to be a part of something bigger. So as you saw, the City of Hope is here. Last week, a couple of weeks ago, we had the airport here, LAX was here. So there are more and more cities that we're encouraging. In fact, recently, I think we confirmed the City of Glendale's not on this. We also have Long Beach on here. So you have more organizations that are plugging in, and more partners that are really looking for vendors to participate in this. Because remember, as Shannon mentioned it, is we have the World Cup coming. We have the Olympic Games coming. You need to get on this. So look at it from this perspective. You need to, there's a party coming, and this is your invitation. You need to get on RAMP so that this way you can be a part of something bigger than, and that is the billions of dollars that is coming to the Los Angeles region. So think of it from a much larger scale. This gives you an opportunity to start looking at opportunities, start getting a little bit of experience under your belt. And again, I can't say this enough, and Flora said it, is don't get discouraged. Work on becoming a sub and build that relationship. And that way you can also start getting some opportunities going your way.
Thank you, Jack. I think that answers that question regarding NAICS codes, registrations, and certifications. We will be continuing our series of sessions, and we'll be adding topics such as certification in the near future. These RAMP seminars are held on a monthly basis. When you receive the copy of this recording and the presentation, we will include on there the next date that we will have this session taking place. It will be toward the end of May, so that if you missed any part of it, you can participate live, and you can also share it with any coworkers or other individuals out there. So with that, Jack, unless you have any parting thoughts, I think we can pretty much wrap it up. Once again, within the next 24, 48 hours, you'll receive a copy of this presentation, and as well as the chat, just because it includes a lot of information that you can go back, reference at your leisure and review. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and be on the lookout for this information as well as the invitation for next month's event. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.